Hi, my name is Sally Barnard, an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer. Welcome to Call Me Zena, a true story into the spiritual realms. Join me as I sit and discuss the journey of self-discovery, and with the help of my spirit guides, it's time to trust your intuition. Sit with me and call in live 888-994-4995, Studio A. And now onto the show. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I always open up. It's this time of the day. It's Monday at 2:30 and my show, Call Me Zena. First of all, I want to thank all my guests that are in the studio. Thank you very much for showing up and listening to my show, and hopefully you'll participate. And thank you, Steve. You're here now. My husband is sitting here and he's not at home listening. And Dawn, my very special guest again, who always has the correct questions for me to answer. Thank you. So before we even start, maybe you'd like to just talk a little bit, because once I get into this state, it's hard for me to do what I'm meant to do and talk about my book. But just
I'm very excited that you have a new rendition, edited version of your original book, Call Me Zena, coming out.
Right.
So the cover is here. The QR code is right next to Sally. So simply just put your camera up, your phone app, click it, scan it, and it'll take you right where you can purchase the book. So we'll keep that up all the time.
Thank you, Dawn.
So people can always go on and buy the book.
Beautiful, thank you. It just came out. We just did it slightly updated.
What changed?
Well, basically my picture at the back, because the original one was from 14 years ago, I believe. But we did a little bit of changing just at the very back. But I'm also working on the new book, which you know too, which is going to be another 6 months. But this one actually is really important. I see that the timing is everything. And the timing for me to redo this older version of Call Me Zena is so important, because it's a lot to do with my traveling. And it's a lot to do with me traveling to different planets. And 18 years ago, when I first wrote that and described exactly in detail what I was doing, I thought everybody is going to think I'm crazy, including myself. But today, with Russ's program, which I'm a guest on too, with Lights in the Night, it's all about aliens, which basically my book is. So to me, the timing was perfect now, because I document all my series of going to different planets. And I was a little bit embarrassed in the beginning to tell people to buy my first book. They didn't think I'm crazy, but today it's more acceptable, and I explain everything in detail that was happening to me during that period of time.
And there's also some updated artwork in the book.
Yeah, there's some updated artwork, yes. I took some of the original sketches that I did, which actually are really relevant to some of the traveling that I did, but I wanted to update some of the artwork, which is now in the new book too. So you can go on Amazon, or it's actually the QR code will take you to Author House that published the book. And there also is an e-book version of my
It's pretty
book
exciting.
Too. Thank you. Thank you.
And the picture that's on the cover, what is she a picture of?
I don't really know. It was something that I was sketching in the very beginning, but I believe in a funny sort of way I'm hearing that's Zena. Oh my gosh, that's the first time anyone's asked me that, and that's the first time I've answered the question, obviously. Yes, I think it's Zena.
When you do you look back at your artwork, and do you interpret it differently now than you did when you first drew it?
Well, the good thing about this book is Aldo was still around when I wrote the book, so he has interpreted a lot of the sketches that I was doing in the very beginning, and it's so dear to me because Aldo has transitioned and he passed on. But it's making me want to cry, actually, because he would sit there and go into his room for maybe an hour, 2 hours, 5 hours, look at my sketching, which I had no idea what I was doing. And he'd close the door and say, please don't disturb me like I used to do with my art. And he has described in detail what I was actually drawing, which I did not know at the time. So that alone it's even for me to say that this is, it sounds strange, but it happened to me. And the only way that I can pass on my message is for people to listen to my story. I don't expect everybody to believe this, that, and that's fine. But at least I'm opening people's minds. You've seen me now for nearly 2 years on this show, Dawn. I know something is leading me and guiding me to do this. And now when I go back into the version of my book that we're talking about now, it was happening then, only I just was not aware. Aldo was explaining it. He's not here now to explain to me what was happening, but I understand it so much more now.
And isn't it true that much of your early artwork is depicting timelines that you could only have drawn had you been in those eras.
Well, yes, and I'm glad you brought this topic up, because actually I can talk about what happened to me. I feel that I'm being guided to talk into this conversation, so I don't fully understand. Let's call me Sally, and my book is Zena. So I am not really two different people, but I would call it my higher self that's talking to me, which we all have. I'm no different to anybody else. I've just become aware of what I am, and I'm able to do this. And now I lost myself. Can you just explain?
Yeah.
Ask me the
Well,
question.
you just said something that I really wanted to talk about
Right.
anyway, a conversation we had last night. And that is, and you're talking about your higher self and this other dimension that people go to when they transition, and how you really know what it's all about now when you get there.
Okay, to just clarify on that, I really have become aware. Do I know everything? Absolutely not. And I wouldn't even attempt to say that I do. But I have had extraordinary things happen to me, and as you know, Dawn, and also in my book, that could not have been coincidence. And I knew that, and I always say there's no such thing as coincidence. But now I'm really beginning to understand it. And it's taken me many years, because I've had, and I'm not just selling my book, but it is in my book, okay, of the experiences that I've had that are completely, I think something's talking, I don't know, yeah, okay, that are not able to describe. Yeah, it kind of just, I don't often get distracted, but I think I did a little bit just then, actually. I just wait. Thank you, Dawn. That doesn't usually happen. I'm able to talk, but I could hear something. I thought maybe they're talking a little louder to me. I don't know. So again, back to what happened. As far as when I say there are no coincidences, and many things, I talk about timelines and I talk about different realities. Do I understand it as Sally? No, I just accept it, because I've had too much validation of there's things going on that we don't know about. But now I turned on the television, which I don't often do. I went into the other room and I put on YouTube, and I put on something that was so relevant for my understanding. Again, I'm going to say that it wasn't coincidental, but I was listening to it. And it started to explain, the person that was talking was channeling someone, which I do, and I don't often listen to these messages. I accept that I'm doing this. But something compelled me to listen to him, and I did. I didn't find the station found itself. And what he was talking about was, what I found interesting in the beginning was alternative realities, alternative timelines. And I've often described timelines, as you know, and as you know too, Dawn, that it's going on at the same time. So what I've actually discussed, I don't always understand what I'm talking about. But what happened, I began to able to understand this today as best I can. We are all here. We go nowhere. We absolutely go nowhere. So what is happening now in the studio here, we can all be on different which I said, let's make the show about vibrational energy. We're on vibrational energy, and that's very important. If you just hear those words, we're on different stages of vibrational energy. And I talk about that, and I have many times, that we lift, and I'm going to call it, in which he actually said, we make our vibration a little higher. We can call it dimensions, we can call it whatever we like, but we tune in, just like on a radio station or a TV, we tune into where basically we are. We're going to watch something on the television of what we want to watch. We don't always see it the same way. And I noticed that very much in the beginning with my art. People, because my art is a little strange, it's different, but people see certain things in it and other people don't, including myself. And I've drawn these things and painted it. It depends where our vibrational energy is. So I talk about positive and negative, and this is really, really important to understand this. I'm going to explain it as best I can. I did last night to you, Steve. It was like 10 o'clock at night. But it suddenly came together. We're on a vibrational energy. So if we're negative, it's going to, and I talk this, we've said it, you know, people that want to listen to other recordings, try not to be negative, because it lowers our vibrational energy. So everything that we're attracting on a lower vibrational energy, because we're talking negative, is going to come to us. It doesn't matter what it is. I use the expression, we're going to have a bad day. Yes, because if we say we're going to have a bad day, we're attracting everything in our day to become a bad day. So I try to say, although I didn't completely understand it, let's say, even if you're having a bad day, I am having a good day. Now, we all know this. We've heard it many, many times. Let's be positive. But there's a real good reason for this. Because when we do that, we're actually making our vibrational energy a little higher. And in that going higher, we're attracting people that are on that higher vibrational energy. So it kind of makes sense. Because how many times have I been in the studio, Dawn, and you know that, and I've said, how is this person here? It's incredible. Why does this happen? Because the moment I come into the studio here, I am lifting without a shadow of a doubt. I'm absolutely certain my vibrational energy, and you know that. I can come in and say, oh, but you know what? I leave it behind. Same before I even understood that at work. I used to sell. I knew the moment I walked into my sales place where I was, because I had to sell, otherwise I wasn't going to make any money. I had to use that vibrational energy and lift it. And people used to say, don't sit with the negative people. Truthfully, in the very beginning, it used to drive me crazy. Oh, it's my friend. I don't care if they're negative. And they'd say, Sally, you're doing okay. Move away from them. But I totally understand that. I knew it, but I didn't understand it because we're going into a different vibrational energy. And on that different, I'm going to explain it the best I can, on that different vibrational energy, people like what I'm talking about have lifted that vibration to be there in the first place. Otherwise, they wouldn't be in that vibrational energy. So that explains a lot of the things that have happened to me. And I'm just going to bring up one silly little thing because a lot of things have happened too that are in this book. And it's funny, it's all in the book. Walking along the beach and I wanted breakfast and I had no money on me at that point in time. And I go into the ocean and I go like that. And it was a long time ago. It was a $5 bill. It was enough to get me breakfast before I went home to be able to eat something. That doesn't happen usually. I mean, it's usually a fish that comes up to you, right? So I looked, and I took it for, okay, I got $5. That's great. I'll go and get some breakfast. And the other thing, which I won't go into the whole thing, is how I met someone on the beach, which is, again, it seems to be that I should be talking about my book because it's in the book and I explain in detail what happened. How I meet someone from the beach, I go back, and they knew my father who had passed, and they knew my just from a meeting on the beach in Florida, and this took place in London, they knew my stepmother who happened to be staying, well, knew my mother at that point. I can't really go into the story, but it's there. But the third thing is how I talk about my stepmother. I hadn't seen her for many, many years. I go into a hairdressing shop, she's in London, and I'm sitting in the stop having my hair done, and the lady next to me, and I had no way of getting in contact with her because I had lost contact with her, had talked, and her name was Trudy. And she's talking about a Trudy. I'm in the middle of nowhere in Florida. Well, nowhere, it was somewhere, but it wasn't London, in Florida, in a strange hairdressing shop that I'd never been in before. And she's talking about a Trudy. And I said, from London, and I said, are you talking about Trudy? And I mentioned my stepmother's name, and she said, yes. And I got to meet my stepmother who was on vacation over here. And I'm saying, I kind of accepted it, but how is that possible? I'm in a strange hairdressing shop in Florida, and my stepmother lived in London, but she was on vacation.
But why do you think that happened?
Because I lifted my vibrational energy. I hope I'm making sense of this, but I see it today because I'm now on a higher vibrational energy that's attracting all this. So if I had been negative and walked into, I'm not saying that this would have happened, this is ridiculous. I'm not even going to ask the lady what Trudy, who Trudy is. But because, although I was not aware of it, because I had not had all these things happen to me or aware that they were happening, I had lifted that, and through that, I'm attracting people that are understanding basically what I'm talking about, because they've lifted, there's many more, much higher. And that's how I'm able to do my show, because I'm at that point in time where I'm attracting people from a higher vibrational energy. I'm not as high as perhaps they are because Aldo is in a higher one, but they can lower it slightly to meet me. So these coincidences that we call in the cafe that have happened to me in the Brooklyn Cafe, no, I'm putting out that vibrational energy. They are going to appear. So it's up to anybody that's listening, and you don't have to believe any of this, but I am understanding this, and I am going to continue to be positive because I think it's an amazing way to treat your life and go through life today.
But sometimes you put out energy and you do what you do, and negative people come in because the web is so vast, and in this industry, everyone wants to be a part of what it is, but they don't all have good intentions when they come in.
Yes, but and without mentioning any names, we see that. Because when there are, because we go out into the airways, and if there is, and obviously we're meeting many people that come in and we advertise where the studio is, not everybody is on this energy. Sure. I have met many people that are, and you can attest to that when we went into that other room and they were talking about things that you didn't know so much, and I'm able to have a conversation because they were on a higher vibration. However, yes, because there's both, it's balance. We get people here. But what we look at, and I think it's important to understand this, Dawn, when we see someone and we don't feel right about it, we're on that higher vibration, but they may not be. So even when somebody walks away from here, let's use the cafe as an example, they weren't meant to be here. They happened to come in because they came in. But if you feel that and you say, oh, I'm so sorry, maybe that person is not here anymore, there's a reason for that. There's a reason for everything. And if we just go into ourselves and see how we feel about certain things, I don't think it will steer us wrong. I really don't believe that it will. So we might not see it at the time, but it will make sense a little bit later on. You'll
or we see it and we just don't know what to do with it.
Because we don't. We're not aware of it. So I guess my message is today is just be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of what's going on. If you don't feel that it's right, so the worst thing that can happen, you walk away from something, but at least you're not getting involved in something that is not necessarily going to be for your highest, best interest.
But if you find a way to raise your vibrational energy, most things can be accomplished. Like Jill sitting over there is embarking upon something major, and there's a lot of trepidation that goes along with it. So you're saying if she raises her vibrational energy, she has a much greater chance of having everything work out?
Okay, the most important thing before we discuss any person or individual is that we have to believe this, because if we don't, it's not going to happen. Belief, and I often talk about believe it. It's so important. So if you're embarking on no matter what it is, maybe moving or maybe whatever it is here in the cafe, I believe, and I've said to you many times, I am really succeeding in what I want to do. It's not out of ego, it's not out of anything, but I truly believe it. So we can go ahead and do things and say, well, Sally talks about positivity. That's fine. We can go through the motions. But if we truly believe, and I talk about passion too, it's our passion, whatever we're doing, and nothing, I mean absolutely nothing is going to go wrong with this. Even if we feel it, we have to take that negativity away. Whatever we want, we manifest. And on that program yesterday, which had such an impact, we manifest ourselves to be here. What more do we need? We are here. We are here at this time. I mean, think about it. Whether you believe in God, religion, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you believe. Just believe, and it will happen. Truly, but you have to really go deep into yourself to understand that. And you know, with my program now for close to nearly 2 years, and I've talked and talked about this, as you know, I'm really beginning to see the light.
You're finally believing what you do.
Well, I believed it. And I used to say, fake it till you make it. You know, that was an expression that I used to use. And where I was in my belief was perfect, because it's got me to where I am. It's got me to have a deeper understanding of what I'm talking about. I'm guided with my conversations, that everybody that's listened to the program knows that. But it's really, we all are. We just have to listen. We listen to our gut. How many times do I say that? Our feelings, don't turn right, turn left. Don't go that way. That's fine. We're being guided.
Things that you do to keep going, the vibrational
Keep
energy.
going. Don't give up on your dreams, because your dreams can become reality. We can manifest anything if we believe it.
Well, let me ask you, is it manifesting, or is it your timeline continuum where it's already happened, but yet we call it manifesting, but Freddie will say you're just catching up?
It's yes, and he's actually right in a way, because all that we're talking about, we were going to talk about previous lives. And this is so difficult. That's why not necessarily we're going to bring it up. But everything is happening in our now. And I've talked about that too. But it's making so much more sense, because we can take ourselves, we sometimes don't remember, because that's there for a reason. Because if we remembered all our previous lives, we'd be going crazy. But we can pull from certain lifetimes, because they're still continuing. Aldo used to say that to me time and time again. That life that I was in, which we were, you don't mind me mentioning that, where we were together in that particular life, was an important life. He says, go back into it, it's still going on. It's like a movie. We watch a movie on TV, and there's another movie on another station. We can get into that. We do exactly the same here. Do I expect everybody that's listening to understand that? No, I didn't. It's very complicated. But once you start to open up to it, it will, little by little, as he used to say to me, it will begin to turn into our own reality. That's what's so very important, and I think somebody is here right now. Okay, maybe the door's opening. But you've seen this, Dawn, you've seen it. I have witnesses here to what's happened to me. It can happen to you, it can happen to you. It can happen. I'm no different. I really want to say that. I'm no different. I've just opened up to give my story, and I believe it's important to carry on this message. Very important for the people that want to listen. For the ones that don't, that's fine. It's not their time. I can't criticize that. I can't expect everyone to believe what I had a problem believing it. So,
But they may want to open up and not know how. So would your book be a good first step?
the first book, yes, I think
That's
so.
what I
The
think
second
so.
one, because it's about timing, because it's all really basically going on at the same time. I wrote this book quite a while back. I came forward to say later on, I realized, quote, I had been abducted many times. I see that. I'm not scared about that. It's what happened. I was traveling to other planets. Did I understand what was happening to me? I didn't. But I knew what was happening to me, because I can remember every detail of what was happening 18 years ago. It happens to all of us. We just don't know it. We don't know it. I've been fortunate enough to be, as Alda used to say, please be my mouthpiece, which I am.
And the mouthpiece of what?
Of my experiences, of what's been happening to me. I mean, we're here in a tremendous mess here, let's say, on Earth right now. It's not good.
It's getting messier, I
It's
think.
getting messier by the minute and day, and politics and wars. And I try, and I knew that I really don't want to get too involved with all of this, because it's bringing me down. But I really didn't understand completely why I was even saying that. We listened the other day, and I said, this is the reason. I don't want to talk about the debate, it doesn't matter. But I said, this is the reason I don't want to get involved with politics. But it's more than that. It's more than that.
Well, let me ask you, all the political things that are out there, the commercials, the medication commercials, the disclaimers, right? All these things that are changing in advertising, if we don't want to talk about politics. It's lowering our vibration. It's lowering our energies as a society by watching this. And I know, I'm going to call him your grandson. Your grandson's here, for lack of a better term. He's in this field of marketing and advertising. You know what's going on. Do you think this is part of it?
I think definitely to some extent. I think marketing in general is a lot about, I guess we could call it that vibrational pull, and kind of guiding people in a certain direction, and creating an emotional reaction, which creates a lot of that energy. But I do agree about the energy you put out into the world. I'm a big believer of that, and I also. I think that a lot of people, or most people, naturally project out energy or reflect back energy, or some people suck up all the energy in the room.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I think a lot of people don't know that they are one of those three things.
They're actually feeding off our own energy, you know, And I physically, we call it empath, as you know.
Right.
I can get exhausted by someone talking to me about what's happening to them in their lives, which can be very negative. We all have that. But I'm thinking, I'm taking this too seriously, because I can actually lower my vibrational energy, very much so. Again, just to quote Aldo, I know you guys, and you're Steve's grandson, just to clear that up a little bit. But not that I mind you being my grandson, but it changes our vibration. So we get tested kind of here, you know, things are thrown at us, but we don't have to do anything. And I always say that. You don't have to even understand or believe me, and that's okay too. I totally understand that. But I can only go and pass this on by example to say I've had firsthand kind of information of what can happen to us when you start to believe this way. I've got too many stories of my friends, and you know Dawn, and you know Steve, what's happened to me. And I've said, this is crazy. How does this, there's no coincidences. I say it all the time. But basically, there is no coincidences. So my message to go forward with the show a little bit is just please, with all my heart, I mean this, think positive. Fake it till you make it, because that's what I've done for many years. I've had more than my fair share of drama in my life, and you know that. But I overcame it, and people say, how did you do that? I didn't even know how I did it. But if I was going to go and sell something and I was unhappy with my situation, with what was going on, I wasn't going to make any money. So I knew I had to fake it, even though I might not have been happy. Do that. Do it with illness even. Do it with anything. Please just try to think negative, not negative, but positive thoughts.
I am curious if you have any techniques for maybe some of the people that are projecting out some of that negative energy to block that from you, or to protect yourself, especially when it's draining or you're being affected by it in some way.
And that's a great question, Mikhail. That's a good question, because I do get, and people sometimes now are actually calling me more when I'm out of the studio, but I also know I have to protect myself too. And that's okay. I'm open to help people, so I can't always turn that off. But the thing is, I have to protect myself. But as long as I'm aware of that, I can't get caught up in anybody's situation. Because what's going to happen, 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 people are going to maybe take that energy from me, and I won't be able to help the next person that wants it. So it's a balance we have to find. But I, thank goodness, I'm aware of that today. I wasn't years ago. I wanted to help the world with everything. I can't do that. I'm just one individual. I can't save the world. I could give my message, but I'll do the best that I can with what I'm able to do while I'm still here.
And I think they want us to take a commercial break.
Okay, thank you. We'll see you on I always say the other side, but the other side of this program.
You can always give us a call and ask Sally a question live on air, 888-994-4995, Studio A, or write in the comments, YouTube or Facebook, and she'll get to those as well.
A true story, Call Me Zena, is the telling of Sally Barnard. Born in London, England at the end of the Second World War, she came to the U.S. in 1979. A mother of 2 and grandmother of 4, she settled in Florida and worked in real estate. While going through a difficult time in her life, she was admitted into a hospital overnight in December of 2005. While settling back into her life, she began having vivid dreams and documenting them. By the 3rd dream, a lady gave her a message to draw. With no artistic background or interest in art or history, Sally listened to her dreams and grabbed paper and crayons. Today, she has over 150 pieces of inspiring art and poetry. This book follows her journey and interpretations of these messages. She describes in detail how she's able to astral project and who she has met along her travels, including her spirit guides. This book will show you how anything is possible with an open mind. These events have changed Sally's life's direction, and this book will show you how to change yours. Purchase Call Me Zena on Amazon today.
Do you have an idea for a show or a podcast? Do you want the opportunity to be on TV? Ant Media Productions is partnered with True Oldies Real Radio Station and powered by many online platforms such as Roku, Facebook, YouTube, and even Amazon Fire to help amplify your impact. Do you want your voice to reach a wide audience? Call us today at 866-224-5422.
Thank you for joining me through this journey of self-discovery with the help of my spirit guides. I'm Sally Barnard, and you can find my book and artwork by visiting artbysallybernard.com. Now back to the show. Doesn't matter, but that's all. Because they might say, oh, I'm on the wrong.
And you're back.
We're back. Okay, Dawn, any questions for me that maybe someone's calling in? Or?
We talked about vibrational energy, and Mikhail asked, how do we stop the energies coming? Now, I know people have told me tapping, and I've seen different motions. Are there other things that people can do?
Tapping is interesting. I didn't know a whole lot about that, but I think actually the late Wayne Dyer, who was amazing, used to talk a lot about tapping. So I'm not that familiar, but it's important. Other things too, because if you feel that, just change your attitude. When someone is talking negative to you, you can walk away. Absolutely. Or someone says, I don't like what you're talking about, makes no sense. That's fine. They're entitled to where they are at this point. I don't intend to and don't want to go to that level. So in my life today, I choose to only, as best I can, have people that want to hear my story. I'm not out to tell the world my story. So I try to protect myself that way, because I won't get the criticism from other people. They can criticize me all they like, but I don't want to hear it. I'm going to walk away from that. I don't want to know, because it's, for me, negative, and I can't afford to do that. I don't have that many years left to pass my message on.
Yeah. Jill, I think you had a question you wanted to ask Sally.
Hi, Jill. Finally, you're in the studio. I know you've been listening a lot to my shows. Yes.
And I'm a believer.
Absolutely.
And I'm in the middle of manifesting my dream.
Right.
I'm changing my entire life. I'm scared and I'm excited at the same time. So I have specific questions and just general questions. The specific one is, my house is under contract right now. Is it going to go smoothly, or should I be prepared for some detours?
Okay, again, the first part of my show hopefully will answer all these questions. Whatever happens, I'm not here to tell you yes or no, because I'm going to say that I am blocking the answer to that, because it could be good or bad. I'm here to tell you what I feel that you should be doing. Okay, what you should be doing is to be thinking positive. So if someone comes to buy the house and it falls through, accept that. If the first offer is one that's going to go through, accept it. The most important is how you are feeling about it, because just what I've been talking about, you put out there what you're feeling. So what you're doing, if it's I feel a feeling, I call it a passion, because I'm following what I feel. You feel good about what you're doing. You are doing the right thing, Jill. If you suddenly get nervous, you're going to bring in that nervousness. So please just try to be positive over this whole situation, good or bad. Take the bad as a positive, if that makes sense to you.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
And also, I wanted to tell you, because 2 years ago when we met, you gave me some advice, and I've been doing it. And ever since I've started doing that, I have angels all around me. I mean, constant messages. I don't know what they're saying, but I get the numbers. Every time I make a big decision and I'm nervous about it, there goes the numbers.
Well, it's not just me helping you. There are people who are helping you.
That's what I'm saying. I totally believe this, but I also feel like I'm free-falling, because I don't get the reinforcement till after I
But
make
that's
the
you.
decision.
Just accept what they're doing. They're showing you numbers,
Okay.
because you know why they're showing you numbers? Because you're looking at the numbers, and you know that you're looking at them, that they're around you. There are many ways that they can show us this. I believe very much in certain numbers. When I see that number, I know that my message of what I'm doing is correct. Mm-hmm. We all have different ways of validating the fact that they're around us. Yours seems to be numbers. Just accept it and go on with what you were doing.
And
Okay?
is anybody here today for me?
I don't know. I think they're wanting to make this conversation more broad, I think.
That's
Because
fine.
we can always do that.
Yeah.
But I'm just feeling, because of the limited time here, and I don't want to discourage anybody
it.
from calling in. But yes, there are people always around you, Jill. Just know that you have your own special people around you, and they are around you right now, which I always say. I could give you names. Well, we can talk because we do know one another a little later. So maybe there are viewers, I don't know, but maybe
Absolutely.
some. But
Thank
thank you
you,
anyway.
Sally.
Thank you.
Well, I'll have to piggyback on what Jill said. If people are listening, what type of advice summons your angels? Now, angels aren't all good angels, right? There
No.
are some angels that like to play games and are pranksters. What can people
Absolutely.
do if they want to bring in their angels?
Okay, first of all, change your own feeling about. I keep talking about positivity, but I now know that it is so important. So you're going to attract, just like we do here, the positive angels. Yes, there is light and dark. We've got to have that distinction, because if there was not that and we don't have balance, we wouldn't know what to do. Life could be all great, but what are we learning? We're here to learn. So if you feel that things are going wrong, it could be a playful person. Not everybody is that great. They're here just like we are, good and bad on the other side. But you have the control. Basically, if you know you're in control with what's happening here and also with what spirits you're bringing in, we're actually in control of that too, and we don't know it. We can manifest anything. And that's what that show that I listened to last night had such an impact on me. The words when he said, "We manifested ourselves here," rang so deep in me that I see it now. I don't claim to know it all, absolutely I don't, but I see it more clearly.
And you hear voices. I don't know if anyone hears. Sometimes there's the subconscious that you think you're supposed to hear, but if we honestly sit in the silence, which is why I think all this advertising keeps us from sitting in silence and actually tuning into who we are and what we know. But if we did that, we would hear more messages from our angels and understand what they're trying to tell us.
And yes, because, you know, our mind plays games with ourselves. I'm glad you brought that up, because when someone used to tell me meditate, I don't know how to shut my mind off. I was the worst meditator. And I'm still going to say, I don't meditate that much. I listen, because right now what is a form of meditation? But to follow the sequence into meditating, I have no patience for that. But it's really, really important to listen to ourselves. That's what's so deeply important. So yes, I can tell you guys, go into a quiet room, light a candle, and think. But you know what? When you do that, and I'm not knocking meditation by any means, you're also getting your mind coming in, because it's coming in. The best time really to do this, we don't know it, is when we're sleeping, because our mind is quiet for a while.
Oh, I thought of you. I had a dream last night that my purse was stolen.
Oh my God, that's very similar to, yeah, okay, all right, be very aware of that, because that happened to me just a little while ago. Every single sequence of my dream came about. And I always seem to have somebody around me to witness that, which you did, Steve.
Yes, and the most amazing part of that is it didn't happen, and then you told me you had the dream.
No.
Okay, you told me about the dream, and then the dream came to life.
So what I really want to say, without, I mean, it's on our, we have discussed it before, so I won't spend the time talking about it, but they can go back into the recordings, is that just believe that anything is possible. You know, when you say things like, how in the world did that happen? Try to accept it. When you're suddenly driving in the car and you hear you're thinking about someone maybe that has passed, transitioned, I like to say, and you hear a song that you guys used to sing together, or it was very meaningful, and it comes on as you turn the radio on, or whatever you want to listen to, that's really them trying to get hold of us, to say we are around you. Many things that you see, and I'm getting goosebumps, because telepathy, you're thinking of somebody and suddenly the phone rings, it's that person. These are all real things. It's a way of life that we all need to accept today. Unfortunately, we don't need to do a lot of changing in this life right now. We really, really do need, not me, but many people that believe the same way that I do, because it is going to help lift that vibrational energy. I'm one small person in this great big world, but if I can get my message across to maybe 4 or 5, as Aldo used to say, it's like when you throw something in the water and it continues to go
Ripple.
on. Yes, a ripple, and it will become more and more and more. That's important. So anybody that's listening that has some sort of inkling of what I'm talking about and some of these things, and I know it's happened to you, you're just not aware of it, pass it on to someone else, because maybe you don't quite believe it, but the next person might. So that's what's very important. And take negative people, and I'm not criticizing people for negativity, because we all need that balance. If you're on this road, though, I try to completely steer away from negativity as best I can. It's not easy. I turn the news on and there we are.
Well, look how much you've manifested with all these talks you're going to be doing and the seminars, and you've got new QR codes and you've got new pop-up banners and advertising. At a different stage in life, most people would say, I'm done. I'm retiring. I'm going to go to the beach and cruise the Riviera, whatever. But you're working harder and harder to get your message out.
Well, I worked pretty hard in selling what I did, but I'm working harder now.
You're working harder and harder.
But it's my passion, Dawn, and you guys have seen it unfold in front of you. When I talk about something, and then someone walks in the studio. In the last 2 years, I think you probably had, don't know, more people in a way that understand a little bit or more than what I'm saying. I'm not saying I know it, because I don't, but that have been able to teach me even. Because that's the vibrational energy that's going out. We are what we speak. We are our thoughts. And Wayne Dyer, just to tell you that he passed away, but he believed so much in this. And I have said to you, Steve, many times, I'm at the point in my life now, if I don't do it now, when will I do it? And I truly believe with all my heart that whatever I put my time into now, and it's not ego, I'm not doing it for ego, but I will succeed because I want to succeed. And there's so many opportunities are coming my way.
And that was basically the message you got from what you watched on YouTube last night.
Well, I knew all these things were happening, and I kind of thought I knew how and why it was happening, but the clarity of somebody else telling me my own messages, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Someone is talking the way that I talk, only giving me more explanation on that. And that was so important. I don't even know, I'm going to say I don't even know how I switched that on. It's because we had company, Mikhail, you are staying with us, that I decided to go into the bedroom and listen to YouTube, because I don't know if you guys wanted to listen. But I listened. And I don't even remember, Marita, if you're there, hi. I listen to what you tell me sometimes, but I think you don't even know if you mentioned this one. But it was so relevant. I only listened to it for 10, 15 minutes. But it was everything that I needed to understand somebody else talking about, that I talked about, that was making sense to me. It was incredible.
I want to see what your comments are, if I can open them up.
See if Marita,
I'm going to look and see.
She always listens. She's been with me on this journey now for maybe 25 years, maybe longer, Marita, I don't know. But we often talk. I'm talking to you if you're there. We have many, many conversations, correct?
While Dawn is looking, I just want to mention that we've just passed the 2-year mark since the transitioning of your daughter, Louise Caroline, and just want to let you know how much love we send to you and Sydney, your granddaughter.
Thank you.
And
That's touching my heart.
Marita
Right.
says yes. Just so you know, she's watching. And Cousin Linda says hi to everybody.
hi, Linda.
Thank you for that, Steve. It was 2 years ago yesterday
Yeah.
that my daughter passed. But you know what? Of course I'm upset, and it brings tears to my eyes, but we've had so many messages from her.
Yes.
And Dawn, you've
Oh
had
my gosh.
messages 2 years yesterday.
That's
Yes,
amazing.
And
Wow.
you knew from when I walked into the studio. I came, I think, directly after my daughter had passed, did I start having a show here. It's been incredible. It's been incredible. And to lose a child is not easy. But to help people that have lost a child, a relative, anything, but especially a child, it's not the way around that it should be, that they are in a better place, that they are able to contact us. Don't have to even believe it. Just be aware that they're trying to contact us, and we certainly have validation.
It bears repeating. It happened just last week. We were on our
Yeah.
way out to dinner, and the first song that came on the radio in the car was Sweet Caroline. and then we sit down to dinner, and the server introduces herself as Caroline. So if Caroline wasn't with us, who was?
Caroline was my daughter's name, Louise Caroline, yeah, when she went by Caroline. How? I say, how is this possible? I'm now beginning to understand how it's possible, having done this show for nearly 2 years now. It was directly shortly after I'd lost my daughter, right? So we've been a long time on the air doing this. And I'm learning myself every day. So if I can just pass that on to people, please, just tune in if you want. You know, I'd be happy to, because it makes me happy that I'm able to tell people about my story, about what happened. And it's important. We need it so much now with everything that's going on. I can't tell you not to watch the news. I try my best not to listen, but we also have to be real and know what's going on, because we have to send that vibrational energy out to all the people that are suffering. So just a little bit can help.
It's a fine line, right, of keeping your vibrational energy up, of knowing the information, but yet not being brought down the spiral of of the vibration.
Exactly, and that's what my message really is, because we talk about the negative and positivity, and I will always continue talking about that, but I'm understanding it so much more, because the negative brings your vibrational energy down, the positive brings it up, and we will attract what we put out. So just to simplify it, if we're positive, we're putting good stuff out, so all the people that are thinking like we are, because we're aware of it, are going to come into our life. We don't go anywhere. These vibrations, as far as I can now see, and he said that. He opened it up. And Marita, you know that. We said we don't go anywhere. She's listening, I know.
Yes.
I said that out of the blue 20 years ago to her. We don't go anywhere. It's here. It's just what we see here. We talk about different timelines, and this is important to bring up. A timeline is existing. There are different timelines all going on at the same time. In a timeline sometimes, and I've said this, we know it's a different timeline, so to speak, because we'll see something else in that timeline, a building that wasn't there before. That's a higher vibration. It's the same place, but we're seeing more in that particular place. This is so important. You don't have to understand it. Believe me, it's taken me a long time to see this. But very often, I'll go down a street or something will happen, and it doesn't look quite like the street that I remember. But because I'm seeing more, because I've raised my vibration, there's more in that vibrational energy.
And I've experienced that with you
so
on several
important.
occasions.
Yes, and it's so important. I mean, it's important to me because I'm following this journey, but it's also very, very important for me to tell people that, because, you know, in the back of your mind, you might say, you know, Sally said that. How is that possible? Why is that? I told you a story a little while ago when I had no intention of even bringing this up. But I moved into a new apartment, many, many years ago. I wasn't aware of all this. I've had many stories, but this is one that I hadn't talked about. And I'm a fanatic about putting everything away when I first move. I move into a place. Because maybe I'm visual, I like everything in place, because don't expect everything to be that, but I'm that way. If it's not, it annoys me. So I move into this apartment, I put everything away, and I'm an early sleeper, but it was like maybe 12 o'clock at night. And I have everything put away, except for maybe hanging the paintings up. And I'm saying to myself, I'm so hungry. There has to be a McDonald's or something open. I'm hungry. So this is many years ago. So I said to myself, okay, I'm tired as I am. I'm going to go out. I've got no food. I've just moved in. So I get in. I go to look for my keys. Nowhere. I'm going, but I've been throwing boxes out. They could be anywhere, these keys. Oh my God. And I started to panic, because I said, no car, no keys. What am I going to do? I'm hungry. I walk outside of my apartment building, and it's on the ground floor. And this story is really worth repeating. And it's late at night. And this older lady comes out. I was younger, otherwise I'd say my age, comes out of her apartment, and she looks at me. She said, what's the matter? I said, I've lost my keys. I've thrown so many things away. I could be anywhere in a dumpster. I don't know. I've just unpacked. She said, listen to me. She said, go into your kitchen, just walk into your kitchen, put a glass of water on top of the refrigerator, and you'll find your keys. Thinking she's nuts. I didn't know any of this. I just told you this, right? It's not in my book. So what have I got to lose? I've got nothing else to do. I can't go anywhere. I've got no keys. So I sit down and I said, I just walked to the glass of water on top of my refrigerator. Where are my keys? Well, within 2 minutes, I get up, I open a closet. Remember, this is all new. I don't use tools, but I have a few. I go into the toolbox, and right on top of the toolbox is my keys.
Wow.
How in the world does that happen? And to finish this story, I never saw that lady again. She was my neighbor. I never, ever bumped into her. And that's 100% true. I didn't understand it. I didn't even know it. I just said, well, that was crazy.
You can't make that stuff up.
Can't. And I've got many, especially in this older book. I have many of these stories. Yeah.
It's an incredible story.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so let me ask you, I guess we don't have much time. What does Elizabeth have to say today?
Elizabeth is always with you, and she's always got the same.
I cannot acknowledge her.
Yes, just say hello to her, Dawn. She's with you 100%, and you know that. She's come to us. She was in that previous lifetime with us. She's very aware of your understanding of what you're doing. You are completely, absolutely, I'm getting a stronger message from her, on the right track. Don't get swayed with these silly little things that people say. You're very much like me, and she's telling us we are similar. That's why we were who we were in another lifetime. Don't take what's happening personally. It's so important to understand that, and it's bringing tears to my eyes because I do too. You're here to give your message, Dawn. We're very, very similar in a lot of ways. We met here at the cafe. She knows that. That was not an accident. I'm completely with her right now. She's going, don't get carried away with these other things that may be out of your control. You can make it more in your control by thinking negative of a situation, but don't get too involved with it, because if we get involved with negativity, what's it going to bring? Rest of my show, before and after my show, I'm going to finish with this. Don't bring in that negativity. You can do this. She's telling me, my gosh, are you strong? You can do it. These people or places or things that appear that are negative, disregard it. If you have to walk away from it, that's fine, because who have you got to protect? Yourself. And she's telling me this so strongly. You have so much to offer. You have so much talent. Oh my God, am I right with her right now? She's talking to me through me to you. Don't get persuaded by things that are out of your control. You have so much to offer, Dawn. I don't think I've ever spoke this openly to you, okay, but it's so true. Do not get sidetracked. It'll work out. And another thing, delegate some of your things that you do to other people. She's coming through so strongly. You can't do everything. You can't. And you're not meant to, because the things that you're meant to do are going to get watered down because you've used your energy somewhere else. Please, she's with you every single step of the way. She was also my relative, of course. Okay, that was, I may not remember, and I may have to go back into the recording, but this was a very, very important message for you.
Thank you.
And I just have one final question, a message for me perhaps. I'm about to embark upon something I haven't done since October, and that's go back to work since my illness. Is there a strong message that you're hearing for me in how this is going to go?
Yes, absolutely, Steve. And you know, I would say this, but it's coming because you're asking me this on the show, which was good that you're doing. Nothing has changed. You are who you are. You've gradually got to get more strength back. So having said that, yes, by all means, get back into your routine. But in the very beginning, it's not going to be quite like your routine. So there are many aspects to this. There's aspects of other people, and I'm going to say making money from what you do, plus you're making money. That's okay. That's fine. They're entitled to. But you're not going to do everything all at once. You have to take this step by step to get more strength. You're being helped tremendously to get back on your feet. But you can't rush this, okay? You've got to believe that you're getting help. If you feel like you can't do what you were doing when you were doing very well, it'll come back. But do it little by little, little by little. That's so very important. If you feel that whatever you're doing is too much that day, you sit down, you kind of get yourself together again. You don't have to pursue more that day. It's very important that you do that. But it's also very important that you don't lose your positivity and bring it into negativity.
Well, You know I wouldn't do that.
I know you don't, but they're just telling me to tell you that
Thank
on
you.
the air. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, and how can people get your book again?
I can.
You get your book. You can actually scan the QR code right here, and it takes you to the author.
Yeah, Author House is my publishing company. They can also buy it through Amazon, but Author House also offers an ebook too.
Okay, I saw the ebook.
Yes, so they'll bring you to my book, which is a hard, well, not a hardback, but it's a hard copy.
Softback, right?
Softback, or an ebook. Again, I will suggest, but it's entirely up to you because my drawings, I don't know if the ebook is in color, that's all, because some of my artwork is in there. It may or may not be.
Oh, okay.
I'm
I
not
do
sure.
see the ebook. It's only $3
Yes,
on
it's-
Author House, so totally affordable, and take a look at it.
Right. I mean, the actual book is a little bit more money, but you know, you're getting my artwork in it too. But it explains exactly what was happening to me, as I didn't know at the time that I was going to these planets, and obviously I was getting abductions, which I actually do talk about very much in the book.
Your artwork is truly amazing. You can just see the evolution and how, if you see the lines and behind Sally on her over her left shoulder, that's all done by hand. That's not done with rulers. That's not done with anything except just your mind and your creativity.
Right.
And that to me is how so incredible what you've done.
Thank you.
Really,
Thank
really
you.
beautiful. And then when Steve was sick, she's got Controlled Chaos behind us, a whole different series. So I'm sure there'll be the next series will be coming out soon, which will be
Right.
interesting
I
to
don't
see.
seem to have the time to paint anymore. I'm so busy doing what I'm doing.
But it's
But
great.
there will be time. Yes. Thank you.
Get the messages out. So you can always get
Thank
it
you.
right here at the studio. You can write in, like and subscribe to her YouTube page at Call Me Zena, Facebook page, Call Me Zena, or you can always contact Sally right here at the studio, 888-994-4995, Studio A. We'll give her the message.
Thank you very much. You did more than I could do. I cannot.
Oh, it's 4th
advertise
of
myself.
July coming up.
Yes, it is. We're going to have a quiet. I believe you're leaving the day before, right, Mikhail? But we'll have a little rest because Steve is going back to what he likes to do, his work, right?
Congratulations. The good news is you're going back to work because you
excited.
choose to, which is amazing. I mean, you've come through a lot, and only the best.
Hey, why did I come through?
Only the best for you. And that's because of Sally's positive vibrational energy. There's no denying.
Couldn't have
I
done it without
actually
it.
Support.
discussed, I don't know if we have a few seconds, but
Sure.
I said that to you last night at 10 o'clock in
Yeah.
the evening. I even questioned myself with the way that my attitude was with your illness. But I knew, and this was so important, we have 1 minute to say this, that if I brought myself down to, because illness is a negativity, if I brought myself down to that level, I'm not going to be good for anyone. I've said that before. So what I did, some people would say, well, how can you just say, you're going to be all right? It's okay. I even wanted to say, don't complain, but there was only a limit to what I could say, okay? But I knew at that point, if I raised my vibrational energy, and you have, thank goodness, you recovered, you're 100% cancer-free. But I questioned my own self, but I couldn't be any different. Because if I was, I would be no good to you or anybody. I would come into the studio just to finish this here. And yes, I had a lot on my mind, but something changed. You know that. You saw that when I came in here. So I was strong enough to carry that on to you when I got home. I knew that if I went lower, I'd go, oh dear, okay. And I don't know what would have happened to me, but I can't say that I would have been as good as what I am today, having gone through a lot of what you went through. I couldn't let it affect me.
Yes.
And I didn't want it to affect you. And that will close.
The strength that you showed, and the way that you handled it, I believe, was catamount to the miracle that has happened with me.
Well, I don't want to say, I believe there was a lot more forces at work, Steve. I don't want to give myself that completely. But you know, by believing that the forces that were working were able to work on us. And
May the
that's
force
what's
be with me.
important.
May the force
May
be
the
with
force-
you.
Thank you. Thank you. And tune in next week.
Next week.
Happy, what is
Fourth.
it?
Happy 4th of July.
I forgot what it was. I nearly said Thanksgiving. Happy 4th of July.
And happy Thanksgiving, too.
Well, that's a little way off, right?
You have been watching Call Me Zena with your host, Sally Barnard. As an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer, know that you can always seek me out for resources by visiting artbysallybernard.com. Join us next week, Mondays at 2:30. Have a blessed day.